Hey there everybody, this week we're going to switch it up a little bit. Usually I tell you about things that you should watch, but this week we're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to tell you something that you should be doing, and what you should be doing with your time is playing D&D. I can hear it now. Oh no, D&D is not for me. But that simply isn't true. D&D is for everybody, including you, Kevin. Now you may be skeptical and think that I'm just telling you a line so far, so I'm going to try and keep it simple. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why D&D is for everybody and why it's the game that you need to be playing right now. Reason number 1. It is the truest form of escapism. Escapism is one of the oldest human coping mechanisms ever. We've used it since the dawn of time to get through a rough day, to find hope to get us on to the next thing, and we're using it now just the same way that we were back then. The only difference is this generation that has now come into being the main consumers, that of the millennials, potentially view escapism as more valuable to them than any generation that has come before them. Now, I'm not trying to tailor this video to the millennial generation specifically. The whole point is that D&D is for everybody. I do just want to point out that it does seem to resonate the most with them, or at least I think that it could if given the proper chance. And the reasons for this, I think, sort of speak for themselves, although I'm going to speak about them anyway. The most recent decade has been the greatest boom in escapism in recent human memory. The rise of things such as the superhero genre, the fantasy genre, RPGs and video games. It's all a wildly immersive level of escapism that almost plucks you out of reality itself so that you can spend some hours of your day from all the monotony of everyday life. And that is what D&D is, except for this time, instead of watching somebody on the screen or playing in the role of a character, it's you. You are the escape. You are now one of the most important, and more importantly, you are one of the most interesting people in the entire world. Oh no, that's a lot of pressure. Maybe you're not actually that interesting. Maybe you're not actually that important. How are you going to be able to convey that through that of your PC? Simple. You just quote people that are more interesting than you the way you would in your regular life. Which brings us to our second point. Hanging out with your friends is mostly pop culture, nostalgia, and in-jokes. When you're hanging out with a dear group of friends, some of the best times you can have are making references to other good times or things that you all enjoy. And this is easily done in D&D as well. When you have your player character, you can take quotes from your favorite movies, or the way one of your favorite rock stars dresses or talks, and you could take an amalgamation of all the things that you like, and you can smash them together into one beautiful disaster character that all your friends know intimately because they know you intimately. Not only are they going to be able to develop a relationship with the characters as the game progresses, but they'll have a relationship with it off the bat because they have that same relationship with you. Take the character I'm running right now, for example. He's like an 80s punk rock bard that has an Australian accent, and he rides a cow, goes around telling people how much they love him. Sure, that part at the end is a little bit stereotypical of a bard, and I'm sure the whole aging rock star who isn't that successful and everyone hates his music trope has been played out as well. But it's hilarious, and my entire party seems to think that the Australian accent's a nice touch, and it's little things like that that you could add to your character, even if you don't do it effectively, that make it all fresh, and add new jokes and things for your friends to talk about, ideally for years to come. Which brings us into our third point, why you would do any of this. The only 2 reasons why a human being would do anything is either to prosper at some point in their life with it, or something that would be able to make them happy. And this certainly isn't going to be something that you can make prosperous unless you are very fortunate. So we should discuss, can it make you happy? And the answer is yes, absolutely. There's not much that sounds like a better time than hanging out with a group of your closest friends, gathering together to solve new and challenging puzzles as a unit, being able to have those team bonding exercises, go on insane, out-of-this-world adventures, make jokes to each other. You could do other things. You could eat your snacks. You can drink if you want. The beauty of D&D is it can be whatever you need it to be. There aren't too many games that let you do whatever you want, and there certainly aren't too many games where the other characters are people that you know. When it comes to your friends, you know exactly what's going to make them tick. You know what they'll think's funny. You know what's going to really piss them off. you can really just play around with the world and it all feels fresh and lived in because there are real people that are putting their real emotions into the characters, at least to some degree. And that's going to give you a good time, or at least it should. If it doesn't, that's on you, really. But let's say you don't feel like you need any of those things. You love your life, it's based in reality, which you love, you don't require escapism, and you're not a huge pop culture person. You don't have a whole lot of nostalgia, and it really just doesn't seem like it's the game for you. That's all fine, because you are so special and creative, and that's what this game is meant for. Infinite possibility. Point number 4, it can be whatever you want it to be. Hey, everybody needs a creative outlet. You're supposed to have something that makes you money, something that keeps you happy, and something that keeps you sharp. So even if this thing doesn't end up making you any money, even if it's not what gets you out of bed in the morning, you really just do it because your friends are into it, it could be that thing that keeps you really mentally focused. Now, it may not seem that way at first. D&D has been classically thought of as that thing that shut-ins do, and they're going to wear the big old hats, and they're going to have the pointy ears, and they're going to speak Elvish at each other. And that's not really the way it is, or at least it's not the way that I've experienced it. It's typically a group of jerks in a circle jerking it, talking about what horrible people they want to be, and thinking about the most infuriating way they can deal with the DM's problems that have been presented to them without getting kicked out. The idea of role-playing another being and stepping into their shoes and thinking about how this other person would have to act in a certain situation is a creative struggle, especially if it's a character that is unlike you in real life. And that's going to be paying big dividends later on, because if you're able to think outside of the box and think creatively, you're going to be able to find new ways to solve problems. Further, if you're able to think of how somebody else will be able to see an issue, it will not only strengthen your opinion on the issue, but it might give you empathy to see what it is they think and how they view the world. Now, those are 4 great things, and they're all very valid and true, but I think the most important point is probably going to be point number 5. D&D is a good way to be social, meet new people, and maintain relationships that you have with existing friends. Now that I've entered my mid-20s, let me tell you, man, it's hard to have friendships. It's hard to maintain that. There isn't enough time in the day. You're working too many hours for not enough pay, and between school, work, and trying to find a time to sleep, there's not a whole lot left to do. When you have that thing to look forward to every week or every month or two, if you're in the group that I'm in, it really is something that can help keep you going. You think about, what are we going to do this time? How is so-and-so going to react to what happened in the previous session? How am I going to screw over the DM? It's just a way to think about, interacting with your friends, your buddies. It's important to let them know that you care about them, and being able to set aside time 3 times a year, because scheduling is hard, to be able to do this with them is something that they're really going to appreciate, and it's going to go a long way with keeping you bonded with your friends. And that's honestly what the most important part of D&D is being able to share an experience with your friends. It's not supposed to be a solitary game or solitary experience. At the very least, you need 2 people, because if you're not doing that, you're just writing a book, which is great. If you want to write a book, go ahead and do it. I fully support you, but I'm just saying that this hobby might be better. That's it, y'all. Those are my 5 reasons as to why you need to be playing D&D right now. Thank you for sticking around for the video. It was a really good time making it. Not doing something superhero related for once is kind of fresh. Enjoyed doing it. If you like what you see here, feel free to subscribe if that's something that you're into, or even leave a comment. Tell me what you want to hear next. Talk about maybe a D&D class, go back to superheroes, anything, man. We're just kind of playing it by the ear right now. You really can't get enough of complaining about things and being an entitled millennial trash compactor. So if you want, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Got some social media accounts you could check out. You could hit me up there, and we could go ahead and complain about some things together and be entitled snowflakes. But that's enough about me screaming into the void for this week. Y'all stay beautiful.